All right. So welcome to episode 25 of the Grindhouse Recordings podcast. I have my co-host Edwin here. And we have a guest, Soneta, on. She just came out with a new record, Vibe Views. Check that shit out. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm just, stuck in my thoughts in quarantine. Not much you could do. Going grocery runs with her mom. That's really it.
Yeah. So are you writing new music now that like you're stuck in the house and?
Yeah. I mean, before quarantine, I actually was coming out with a third EP, and obviously just things just slowed down. But that's really all I've been focusing on, really. And I'm getting a bunch of new beats, so I'm also thinking of visuals and how I can really enhance my craft.
Is there like a particular producer that you typically work with, or is it just like whatever you write to?
Usually, honestly, I just take what's given to me, to be honest. To speak on what I've written, they were old. These are actually old songs that I have in the vault, and I just wanted to bring them out to life. But as music now, I'm just taking what people are giving me, like Twins giving me things. Michael said he's working on something with me. And I've also had my own little private producers that's hit me up through my other music. So that's what's been going on with my music now.
Word.
That's dope. So for people who don't know you, could you talk a little bit about, first of all, like who you are and sort of your musical background when you start playing music and making music?
Yeah, of course. So I started off probably middle school, just strictly writing poetry. It was at first to express, my emotions, because I'm very sensitive. So it was a way of, containing my thoughts. And eventually, as me growing up in church, I was asked to if I wanted to sing background vocals usually, and I did that around age 12 for as long as even till now. And now I'm a lead music leader. Music leader in my church. I lead the worship team along with my people that are there now. But it's always been background vocals. And eventually, of course, my friends would be like, "Oh, you should make a song, da da da." So I believe senior year. No, yeah, it was after senior year, the summer of after I graduated senior year. And I was like, wow. I remember going through my timeline and seeing all these different people coming out with music and stuff like that. And I was like, yo, I've always been a singer and I've always wrote poetry. And for me not to mix it together, let me make that a goal. So I made it a goal to make a song of mine. And I just remember not asking anyone for help. And I just threw mad beats on. It took me like three days to really go through beats and to see what I.
Hey, you're back.
Back.
we missed the second half of what you were saying. I think the last thing you mentioned was making music and nobody helping you, like sort of craft the songs.
Yeah. Yes. Not really necessarily no one. When I say no one helping me, I mean like I didn't ask, the typical question. I didn't go to anyone and was like, how do I make a song? I kind of just crafted everything myself. And I knew I just needed a beat, and I pulled up some of my lyrics. And I remember I was just chilling in my bed. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you still. Yeah.
I was chilling in my bed, and I just remember hearing this beat, and all I could say in my head was, is it me or is it you? And at the time, I was going through a little breakup. So, of course, that kind of combined, and that's how I made the song Isn't Me. And I honestly had no confidence. I was just like, oh wow, I made a song, not even regarding if it was good or not. And I posted it on Instagram. That's when I got mad love, and I was like, what? Like I got mad love over this? This is crazy. So ever since then, the people who did compliment me, they made me keep going, and those who like heard me became my supporters. So it was like a good like hobby to do, I guess. It started off as a hobby, to be honest with you.
When did it become like, I'm gonna pursue this professionally?
That's a great question. I would say it was just when, it just became a handful of people that wanted to work with me. And at first it was like, all right, I'm not going to do this just because for other people, really. So I wanted to do it to create like accolades, to create I should get my name out there, really. And that's how it became at first. But things started getting a little crazy. I made Never Had Enough with my boy Justin, and then he got his producers in it, and he got an artist on there. And I also made songs with other people that I wasn't able to really record. Honestly, most of the songs that came out were like I said, in the vault. They're like 2 years old.
for Hear Me Out and Vibe Views for both EPs.
Yeah,
wow.
Actually the first EP and for the Vibe Views, the very first track, Heist The Green, those were 2 years old, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. And shout out to West, because when I met him, I seen his worth ethics in music, and I seen that he had like EPs out, and I was like, yo, like I got like 10 songs in the vault, so like that's why I have so many EPs, because I'm like splitting them in half. But as soon as like he put an inspiration in my head, like, yo, I could really like make different EPs.
Yeah, Wes is crazy because he's only been the Lin for like a year, but he's made a huge mark in this area regarding music, like very, very quickly. How did I asked this to Khalil yesterday? I'm gonna ask this to you. How did you connect with Wes?
Oh, actually, most of the Lin artists that we've connected with, we all met and performed at La Ruta August 1st, I believe, of last year. And I knew half of the list, but it's crazy because the other half that I didn't know, I'm actually close to now. So it's like, we really just met at that event. And I remember West hitting me up when I was in California later on that August, because of course we exchanged information, and he asked me to hit the studio. He was like, willing to pay and stuff like that, and that was my first really opportunity to get paid for singing. So I was like, wow, like I'm so sorry, I'm in California, and we ended up not linking, of course, and that's when I found out he was from Cali too. And finally, December, I don't know what made me do it, but I was with my friend Melissa, and he hit me up saying, hey, are you free Saturday for the studio? And I was like, yeah, is it in Lynn? He's like, yeah. And he told me about Michael. And I was like, yo, that's like 10 minutes away from me. That's crazy. And since that day, I just seen him, and we had great chemistry in the studio. That's where I met Naimz B and Twin, and their work ethics is what made me wanted to be around more. So after that day, we met like 2 more times, and it's crazy because the second time, I had this feeling that he lived close to me. I don't know if I was born and raised in Lynn, and I don't know if anyone else can attest to this, but I can have a certain vibe when I know someone lives in West Lynn and East Lynn. There's like a spirit difference, like the West Side, they're more like out and like say what's up type. I don't know. and East, like they're just like more to themselves, more quiet. But that's a whole nother topic. But I hit him up. I was like, hey, I'll pick you up, and we ended up being like 5 minutes away. And ever since then, we kind of just talked every day, really. So that's how we met.
What was the song that you recorded?
In the studio.
The first song together.
Oh, yeah. Actually, he asked me to be on a beat with him and Naimz B when we first got into the studio, but like I was nervous. This seemed like a legit studio, and all their work ethics felt like it was more advanced than mine. Because mind you, I just dropped these EPs and I've been singing since 12, so it's like I was kind of new to the music environment, and I didn't make anything that day. But I remember I was going to when I got home listening to the beat.
Oh, okay.
But that wasn't the song that's on the EP. I made that EP, that song "Want You" with him a little after. Like these songs, like I said, these songs are coming out like they were made last week. They're pretty old. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So with Vibe Views EP, are there any, like, what do you want to do with it? Are there any like music videos that you want to do with it, or obviously we're in quarantine, so it's like tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would love to make music videos now to each of them. I've been getting a lot of love on Right Away and Want You and Always, like that's on SoundCloud. I've been getting a lot of love in that too. I feel like this EP is very diverse. And that's why it's called Vibe Views, because it's not really a category. It's like just different types of vibes, and I wanted to portray my diversity. And I think A Wavy Kid, that's the song on SoundCloud. He's been doing music for a little while, but it's more on Instagram. And I feel like if we were to make a music video, it would bring out our artist character. And that goes for Louis. That's as long as, and Naimz B is already out there, but and West, of course. These are just different artists. You know, I think making a video to them would bring out, you know, who we really are, I guess. Because I feel like we hear our names with songs all the time in the city. So it's like maybe it'd be right to bring out the artist image with the music video.
Is there any artists that come to mind locally that you want to work with that you haven't worked with?
Cleo, of course.
Yeah.
I haven't worked with Cleo yet, but I think that's the only person that in the group that I haven't worked with. Yeah. I want to work with a bunch of female singers like Ava, but I think she's doing her thing, to be honest. She's doing her thing, getting up there herself. And I mean, yeah, honestly, just I can't really think of one. I've already hit up John before and Sally, and it's not really like my lane, but they're doing the thing as well.
Yeah. Sure. I have a question about Right Ahead, which is one of my favorite tracks from Vibe Views. Could you talk about your the duet that had? Because I mean that song is beautiful, by the way. That song is just absolutely beautiful, and you guys both did an amazing job. I'm not familiar as much with Louis. Could you talk a little bit about your collaboration with him and how, like, just a little bit about that track?
Yeah, of course. So I made that, like I said, I made that song a little while ago too, and it was just a matter of finding the perfect person to bring it out. And honestly, it was really hard to sort out Vibe Views because I wanted to base it on a certain concept. And with Louis, I remember I was singing that for like a good 2 weeks. I feel like I was like kind of meditating on it. Who should I be on it and whatever. And I think I posted something. I actually had my girl post my music on her page, and she hits me up saying like, hey, my friend wants to work with you, he's really good, da 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 da. So she's sending me his link or whatever. And you know how like when artists hit you up, you kind of have to do background info so you're not working with just anybody. Yeah, I did that. And he ended up being a male singer, and I was like, what, like this is crazy. And so he ended up hitting me up afterwards, and I was like, yo, are you like my girl's friend that she was talking about? He's like, yeah. So he sent me his links, and I heard it around twice. So I was like, yeah, I gotta have him on my thing. So at that time, it's probably the end of February, and because my lack of management, I told myself as a New Year's resolution I was gonna have an EP out January, February, March. And it was towards the end of February, and I was like, yo, I need to find someone to bring this song out. So he ended up being there when during that time. So I was like, yo, Louis, do you think you can make a song by the end of this week? Like, like, bro, I need this right here, right now. If not, it's okay. So I sent it to him, and he sent me a track a couple of days later, and I was like, yo, you think you can come down to the studio to Michael's? I'll pay, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, so he ended up coming down, and we just made magic happen. And honestly, I really love how we sound in it, but Michael did a great job for producing.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And yeah. In terms of the writing, what's it like to write like a duet? Like, is there certain like instances where like you write something and then, you know, Louis comes in and fills his part out, or do you like, how does that writing process go? Because we interviewing rappers, but R&B is a new lane. I think you're probably the first R&B songstress on our podcast, so it's like we're interested to hear that part of it.
I'm blessed. So I wrote when I gave him the song, I presented him with the 2 verses I had, and all I really said to him was, "Yo, bro, if you can counter it, that'll be dope. But if not, then you can just, talk about what I'm talking about." And he honestly came up with his, and like there was a certain part, the part where we're going back and forth. I had wrote that, but we had something in mind for the music, the how the beat went. But when we got into the studio, Michael like gave his input, and it kind of changed our minds about it. But as far as our writing goes, this is actually the simplest, because I presented my verse, he presented his, and then we just made sure we confirmed on what we liked for the part that we duetted at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the end of it, where we kind of went back and forth, we just improv. That's the singers usually do. You ask Naimz B, all he does is improv, and that's just how it ended at the end, really. And it honestly, it helped by ear, because Michael was like, "You guys should do this. You guys should keep holding this note," and stuff like that. So that's how that song went.
I feel like that's a common theme amongst your crew, is like you guys kind of wing it sometimes. Like Khalil was talking about the same thing, like
Yep.
just going into the booth and just like spitting whatever. Like
Yep.
It seems to be working for you guys. So
yeah, I mean, we probably a group for a reason then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to, unless I feel like there's not. I mean, I work on my craft all the time, but improving is where the best works comes out, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, do you think it's also like because you all work together, like you collaborate, like that energy is there, so it's easy to like create in that environment?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We honestly, we go to Twins. I wish I could be there and see how it is. We go to Twins' house, and we all just grouped up in a circle. Most times we do a beat on, and all of us take turns freestyling. Either half of us is rapping and me and Naimz be singing, or like me and Naimz be rapping and everyone else is rapping too. So it's like
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
That's
great.
so sick.
Sick.
That's awesome.
So in terms of and this is more of another how you got started question, what do you think made you gravitate towards music so much and in singing?
Oh man. Well, outside of me fulfilling these accolades, being able to say I can write a song with different types of vibes, I really loved the feeling of everyone being on the same level, like meaning like everyone is focused on music. There's no music is a universal like feeling. It's a universal love. So it's like to have that universal love that everyone can relate to is really a great feeling as to how we got together. I feel like that's what really brings us together. Yeah, and obviously like our personalities, but the way we all feel about music, it just comes together like passion, like literally. Passion is the word.
You grew up with any musicians?
Yeah, for my church, but it's really gospel.
Gotcha. So what's been your influence growing up?
Oh, that's a great question too. Artist-wise, to be honest with you, it would be like Jhené Aiko, of course. I love her, and I love Brent Faiyaz. I love listening to The Weeknd. I love Jasmine Sullivan a lot. Just her soul and her little sass and attitude. Bust your windows down your walls, That's my type of. I love to sing that way. Sing out like really loud and obnoxious.
So, what are like some life stuff that you've taken from to put into your music? Like what sort of like influences, what themes have you taken from your life to sort of write, to influence you to write?
I'm over my past, but to be honest, my influence came from the pain that I've gone through. I fell over for this man, ended up breaking my family apart, moved out at a really young age, and gone through a lot of hardships, with friendships and life lessons. So like I said, in the beginning, it was to write about my emotions because I was mad sensitive and to be able to structure it, really structured how I should think. And honestly, writing about my heartbreaks and what I gone through really does help. And everyone would always tell me, you always put me in my feelings when they hear my songs. And yeah, it was a compliment, but I never wanted to be that artist that wanted to put people in their feelings as soon as they heard me. So I started writing more on how the beat sounded like what other artists is. But like I said, all the music I made are so old, you can kind of tell the difference. Hopefully when my new EP comes out, what I mean by that is it's not so much in your feelings, but those would be my inspiration, so to say. My pain, my struggles. You could tell I don't really have that many happy songs.
Well, I feel like that's music. I mean, people use it as like a way to like express themselves, use it as therapy. So I totally understand. Like,
right.
What can we expect from the new EP?
It would just really be to I don't know, it would just see growth, just to understand that one can really overcome things. Because honestly, I'm writing to show my voice that like I can just be, I don't know, I never really thought of that question, to be honest. I just wanted to really make show people my voice is diverse, because like I said, so many people are telling me that all I do is make people in their feelings. So this EP is more upbeat. Yeah. It's definitely more like loving. I remember my first lines was, "You could be my king, I could be your queen" type thing. It's not no more, "I feel your pain, I need your love" type thing. But yeah, just to evolve as my artist name. I'm kind of just creating my name right now.
Word. It seems like in Vibe Views it was mostly you, along with your features, all singing, and then with Hear Me Out, it seemed like you did a little bit of rapping on that one.
Yeah.
So should we expect more rapping? Is that are you gonna do both kind of thing, or are you really just singer and the rapping thing was kind of like talk a little bit about that? I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, actually, me and Jilla had the conversation about this the other day. I can't really pick a lane. All I know is if I hear a nice beat, I'm just gonna sing on it. If I feel like singing on it, if I feel like rapping on it, like it really depends on the beat. But I do a lot of singing. Like I said, I started off as writing poetry, so I am so intrigued with freestyling and rap because I really like how just the thought of opening up your mind, well, especially I'm gonna talk about freestyling, because freestyling is like on spot, and you kind of can tell how they open up their mind. Yeah, I feel like it's so mind opening. You can't just freestyle without saying what you really feel inside. And I've always been the type to, like I love when people open up, because it means a lot. And that's how I connect with freestyling, because it's not.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of people are close-minded, so.
Yeah, you described freestyling like an art form. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I love freestyling. If I hear freestyling when I'm doing something, you're going to see me turn my head. I don't care what you're talking about either. You can talk about cereal. I'll be like, yo, I'm in love with the wordplay and how people structure things. But yeah, in terms of rap, I love I look at it as a challenge, because when I write raps, I hear AB, or I hear ABB or AABB, the rhyme scheme, and I think it's brilliant for people to fix it within a couple seconds. And for Over You, like I said, these are old things. I wrote Over You the same time I wrote Broken Child and Heist The Green. I wrote Over You because I was finally over my ex, and the holidays were coming, and I wanted to throw something out there. And it was like 2018 before Christmas, and I had written a rap that usually the raps that I write, they're like I hear the beat and I'll write like it's water. You know what I'm talking about? Like I just don't really think about it. So those raps came to be like that. Even Letter to God, they just kind of just came out of my hand.
So you have a natural ability to rap, essentially. So which is great.
Yeah, it depends on the beat though. Like I can't dance to anything.
Yeah,
so I felt these beats.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for really rapping. I love rapping.
So you mentioned Broken Child. Seems like a special record about your parents. Can you talk about like writing that song and
man, I knew this day would come. This is crazy.
That's a heavy one, I can tell.
Yeah.
Man, Broken Child. I remember listening to that and I was like, this gotta be it. And that, like I wrote that when I wrote Over You. That was a really special time because I was writing the most. I feel like I had gotten into the gist of writing and how my emotions feel like. And I remember I had just reconnected with my parents because, like I said, with that whole situation that happened to me, moving in with a 16 people household wasn't easy. And I was stuck in my room because I told myself I wouldn't leave the house as much because I wanted to regain my parents' trust. And I don't know if this is just an Asian thing, but, you know, when my parents just owned me. So it was like I had to force myself into rejection all the time. And writing something like that really, like, took all the emotions out from me. And I honestly think that's why a lot of people like it, because that's the track that I poured my heart out the most. And I'm not really fond to make my bridges like less words, but I felt like Broken Child it needed that. Like, I love you, mommy, daddy, needed to single that out because my parents don't listen. So if I say, you know, mommy, daddy, they're gonna listen. But that's how that came out to be. And honestly, the bridge was just, I mean, the chorus, the hook was just something, it just came out, honestly. Just like Over You, just came out. Yeah.
What was it like? Were the tracks that you recorded with Naimz B, who's like him and you are slowly becoming or quickly becoming my two favorite R&B like singers in this area. So what was it like? Because you probably met him through West, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep, met him all through West, yeah.
So how was that like recording? Is he? What was it like recording? What were the two songs that he was on in your album? Is it
Heist Degree.
Highest Degree, and was he on Want You?
No, he was on You Babe.
You Babe, yeah, that's what it is. Okay.
That's crazy. So when just another session, we was at Twins' house, and he threw the beat on for You Babe. And at first it was called About You, but I figured this, but I said, like, I made a song, something like that, so I just changed it. But he put that instrumental on, and we just started vibing on it. And he was like, yo, he actually told me that he had a girl on it. I don't forget her name, but he had a girl on it, but she seemed a little scared. She sounded good, but he felt like she wasn't coming out as she should. So he told me, like, yo, you want to hop on this? And I was like, yeah, I got you, bro. And whatever. Oh, actually, so because we freestyle so much at Twins, so much good stuff, we decided to low-key have like a recorder. And I remember that day I recorded us. And we played the beat and we re-recorded after we freestyled, and we was like, all right, we're gonna keep this right here. So next thing you know, the day that I picked up Naimz B to go to the studio, I showed him my other songs, and one of the songs was Highest Degree. And while we was vibing to it, he just hopped on it. And that's when I was like, yo, bro, you got to get on this track, and this track. We in the studio. So we made You Babe that day. And when we went back to the studio again, we made Highest Degree. But with Naimz B, you literally just show him a beat, and if he's feeling it, he'll he'll make it right there and then. And I'm like, yo, bro, remember that? And that's it. He's so easy. Like, he'll remember what he says off freestyle, just like Cleo. Like, it's crazy. It's so easy.
I figured that was his process. I wasn't too sure, but I figured that was his process.
Honestly, like after I saw him at like our cypher that we had at the show that we booked, I instantly got that vibe from him that like he's just one of those people that is naturally just can freestyle off the dome and
right. It's amazing. I should ask him what's his process because I'm trying to be like that.
Yeah. You got I feel like you guys like your voices meld well together. I always say that. I actually said this a couple of times to Edwin. I'm like, yo, you guys need to do like a collaborative record together.
Right.
Like, that would be so sick.
Yeah, we talked about it.
A duet album. That would be great.
Yeah.
I might just do it after y'all saying this. He's working on his EP right now, but
yeah, he is for sure. But a duet between both of you, I think that would be the most beautiful thing.
If we could do it all day, man. Like we tried when we had that session, we went songs for days.
That's beautiful. So we're gonna start winding things down, but I do have a question in regards to you said you're working on a new EP, right?
Yep.
So because we're all in quarantine right now, do you think it's gonna be delayed because of quarantine, or how are you maneuvering around what we're currently in?
It's gonna have to be delayed. If it was up to me, I would love to get into the studio, but I'm respecting Mike Kells. He's also going through some house stuff, so I'm respecting him, and I don't know, it's just really respecting their space because I don't want to intrude when they feel uncomfortable. Not that they wouldn't tell me, but just what's going on. It's like in the back of our heads, so it's like I just stay away for a little bit, and I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. So there's probably a reason why I'm stuck in here with all the music I got.
And more to create, right?
Yeah.
More time to create more.
Yep. It's a challenge though, because all I've heard recently is stay off YouTube beats. So I'm like, then send me beats then.
Yeah.
By the way, as we were gonna, before you jumped on, Critter was telling me that there was supposed to be 5 songs for Vibe Views on Spotify, and that's where I primarily listen to music from. But there's 4 songs. Can you tell me what happened to that last song?
The 4 songs is on all platforms, but Always with A Wavy Kid is on SoundCloud because, and I'm gonna say it again, all these songs that I'm making, they were made like about 2 years ago or like a year. And when me and A Wavy Kid was working on that song together, I had the hook and he had his verse. And my goal for these EPs was to let out all the songs that I haven't let out for so long, regardless on what happened. And it took us 2 years to talk again. Nothing happened. He just had his life stuff that happened to him, and I was just working on my stuff as well. So I seen that he had come back on Instagram type thing, and I was like, yo, bro, like we still got this track, like let's work on it. And I seen he was down in music, so I felt like it was also a great opportunity for him to get his name out there since he's coming back into the music scene. And we found out that the beat was sold, and I wasn't trying to waste it because it was, honestly, I love that song. It's so good. Like, I was not trying to waste what we had, and I felt like if I had gotten the beat changed up a little bit, it would change how I felt about it, and that's really not what I wanted. So we just did it anyways, and I had posted on SoundCloud. That's all I can really do for that.
So if you're watching, check out Want You on not Want You, Always on Spotify, on SoundCloud.
Mm-hmm.
That's a track that's not on Spotify. So Always, check that out on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
In terms of the rest, both EPs, Hear Me Out and Vibe Views, are on all streaming platforms. If I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
And there you have a video out. What's the video? What music video do you have out?
Oh, I actually made my own video of what's it called? Over You. I made it with my girls. We went out to Boston. Nathaniel Hall and just recorded it. We actually got yelled at a lot because
Was this during Corona?
no, it was actually like this is just before a coronavirus. But no, it was like 8 p.m. at night in Boston, and I had a speaker so I could hear, and I was just blasting it mad loud, and my girls were just laughing along with me, and we kind of making a scene. So we got yelled at a bunch of times then, and it was super cold. So we had to make the best of our shaking hands, kind of. Those 4 of us, and I thank you, Fatima, Desi, for coming out to record all of that. And I just edited it all myself. I wanted to see if I could really do it, and I did it.
That's awesome. Congrats to you.
Thank you.
I'm sad that we can't get more content, more music videos because of what we're in right now. But hopefully this gets finished up somewhat soon, and maybe you can put out a video by the end of this.
And that's the goal, actually, for the rest of the months, to make visuals and to finish this 3rd EP. And then the rest of the way, I'm going to promote.
Word. Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for jumping on our podcast.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor.
Hey, Creda, you have any last questions to say before we close it out?
I think I'm good. And thank you for being on the podcast. We definitely appreciate it. You're always welcome here. You're actually the first female artist that we've had on. So, yeah. So.
That's an honor. And thank you guys so much. I can't even put into words how much I feel. This is my first interview, so I'm glad to be your first as well.
Awesome. Cool.
So for people at home, if you like what we do, like, comment, subscribe, show Soneta some love, and listen to Vibe Views and Hear Me Out. She's got a 3rd EP coming out soon, so she's definitely putting in the work. So thank you guys, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Bye. Peace.
How do I leave this?
On the bottom right corner, you're on the iPhone, so I'm not sure if it's the same, but on the bottom right corner, there's end meeting.
Oh, no, it just says leave at the top.
Yeah. All right, thank you for coming up.
All right, peace, y'all.
Bye, Soneta.
Peace.